That's funny.
What's funny?
What's funny?
You know, the Clown Motel.
We
It
had
was hilarious.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's funny or scary because the cemetery's right there. Cemetery, Clown Motel.
How does this
haunted.
happen?
I
That's
don't
so
know.
weird.
Memorial.
We were doing driving. So welcome to Sundance Media Group's another podcast of awesomeness. We're gonna have a fun one today.
This is going to be
So
a
I'll
fun
let Douglas
one.
explain what happened and why we're doing this.
All right. So first of all, we're in Tonopah, Nevada. We are on our way back from being up in Reno. We were at the investigators conference up there, mostly a forensics conference, talking about how we use UAV or drones in capturing forensic scenes, which are a little bit different than accident scene reconstruction, that kind of a thing. They can be hand in hand, but they are a little bit different.
And we were doing it at night.
And we were doing it at night.
So it makes it a little bit more complicated
With
yet
an
again.
authorization. With an authorization.
Oh, good point. Which leads us right into.
That's right, with an authorization. And we even got surveilled, ramp checked, or observed by the FAA, depending on which term you want to use. Needless to say, why we stopped at the Clown Motel was on our way up to Reno. We met a clown, a UAV clown, or a drone clown.
Some sort of clown.
Some sort of clown.
And we thought it might be fun to kind of tie the two together. So we've got a short story to share with you.
So we're pulling out of a fast food restaurant in a town very near Reno, and James says, "Hey, there's a drone up there."
Look at the Inspire.
Right?
So we saw an I-2 with an X7 camera on it. And it's pretty close to where we are. We thought, must be a pilot somewhere around here.
So we started looking for the pilot.
Why not?
And then the Inspire started to move down the highway.
Down the middle of the highway.
Middle of the highway, which is a 4-lane highway without a median in the middle.
So actually it's a 6-lane highway without a median in the
6
middle.
even, okay.
So, and James looks forward, and what did he see?
I followed the Inspire, and we just kept going and going and going and going, and then we were like, hey, it's gonna land over there in that parking lot to that major retailer store. And so we turned in the left-hand turn lane. The vehicle in front of us had a driver and somebody sitting in the back of the truck facing the tailgate, and the UAS was over there, and the truck was over there.
So the driver's looking that way, and the aircraft is going that way.
Well, the guy in the back was flying.
Yes, but I mean the guy in the back flying is facing...
The wrong direction.
Right.
So he couldn't see the UAS. So there's violation number 1.
Maybe violation number 2, because there's a lot of traffic on the road.
True.
And he's in a moving vehicle.
True.
Certainly not a sparsely populated area.
Yeah, middle of the city, might be sparsely populated.
Yeah, big highway.
So
let's for our audience, let's walk through the actual issues with driving in the back of a truck. So he's not driving the truck, he had a driver. The pilot in command was actually flying the Inspire 2 from the bed of a truck over the highway.
So over people.
And questionable whether or not he was able to keep it line of sight.
Well, he was looking that way and the drone was going that way, so we know it went line of sight. All right, so we're over people.
What are those FARs? Let's talk about the actual
Okay, well, we
pieces.
got him. I shouldn't say we got him. He's flying over top of people, moving traffic, moving people with the 7 or 8 pedestrian crossways that we went through on our roughly 2.5 miles of following
It was
the
quite a
Inspire.
trek, yes.
Okay.
So moving vehicle, that's a waiverable, but they didn't hold one.
Right, and it wasn't a sparsely populated area.
That's it.
No, okay. Flight over people, that's waiverable.
It's waiverable, but again, I didn't see any sort of system to slow the descent of the aircraft down, so
Okay.
more than likely they didn't have that one.
BV loss,
Yeah.
that's waiverable.
It is waiverable, but again, we're in a city and the BV loss is very difficult because you have to know the radio frequencies and the waves and the modulation and all that. So
Airspace,
it was lanced, so there's that, and you can get a waiver for certain areas.
That's waiverable.
It's waiverable. Yeah.
So the interesting thing was that we stopped and we, hey guys, that's a really nice Inspire too. What's going on? We're kind of being friendly. And the guy says, well, thank you. And I said, so, what are you doing here today? And the response was?
Road survey.
No swearing. No, the first response.
Oh, yeah, no, that was all you. I'll let you explain that one. You were there.
He's like, what the F is it to you, man? None of your business. Well, hey, I'm asking friendly what's going on.
We're towing the trailer, so it's pretty obvious we're in the industry.
Yeah, so, it kind of went south from there. And granted, we were asking questions that made people uncomfortable, but from our perspective, there was some weirdness there. So then I asked the guy, hey, do you happen to know what airspace you're in? To which he responds, well, we have authority from the Air Force to fly here. There's no Air Force base anywhere.
Naval?
Naval Air Station, maybe.
There is the Naval Air Station that's right there, and there's the Army base that's not too far down the road.
And the Coast Guard.
And the
Coast Guard base.
And the Coast Guard training facility that's right there.
No, it was a full-on Coast Guard base.
Well, full-on Coast Guard base, but no Air Force anywhere around.
Not anywhere out
I think
there.
so. Nellis is pretty close, and Edwards is kind of
that way.
And
Reno, Battle Mountain is an Air National.
It's a long way that way,
base, but that's that way.
They shop in
Needless
Reno.
to say, they obviously did not get their authorization from the Air Force.
Plus, they weren't flying on a base, so you really don't need anything from the military at that point.
Right.
Because you're not on a base.
That's true. But it is an MOA, and it is a vector area where operations are occurring below 1,500 feet.
Right.
In that particular area, but that doesn't involve the Air Force. No. So here's a question for our viewers. What would you do if you saw this happening? Would you talk to the pilots? Would you ask them about their role? Would you turn them into the FAA? Would you say, hey, that's a really cool Inspire, can I see your pictures? Or can I get your card because maybe you could work for us? What would our viewers do? I think that's the big question.